Okay, Shalom, Shalom. Kwam Yasa'Allah, Koholoyimla, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakahakodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth, and just want to take the water toward the H.I.M and Aqua that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh to the best of their ability. This is Yachan on the Walk, just coming at you with another quick lesson. Praying that is edifying by the Spirit. And so I'm in this ChatGPT, and it keeps, calling us black Hebrew Israelites, right? So what I done was I asked the question of, so white people give them the term black. Okay, so it says actually the term black Hebrew Israelites was not given by white people. It's a name that many of the groups themselves adopted to describe their identity. So I know that was a lie, because I know we don't call ourselves black. So I asked this. I says, but they only call themselves Hebrew Israelites, never black Israelites. And then it says, you're right, that many groups within the broader movement prefer to identify simply as Hebrew Israelites rather than black Hebrew Israelites. The term black Hebrew Israelites is often used more by outsiders. So see, this is why you have to kind of like really go into ChatGPT. And the reason why I'm doing this lesson is you can actually go in here and tell this program what to actually do and what to actually put out into the atmosphere as far as the internet as well. So again, I said, but they only call themselves Hebrew Israelites, never black Israelites. And now it's correcting, and now it's actually saying, what it really is. You're right, that many groups within the broader movement prefer to identify simply as Hebrew Israelites. That's mostly all the group. Well, you got IUIC. I forgot they call GMS Black Hebrew Israelites. Trying to be, kind of got that animosity towards GMS. So, but they call us the bum Israelites. So they do say that, but it says the term Black Hebrew Israelites is often used more by outsiders or in academic and media context to describe the movement as a whole, especially since many of its members are African American, which we're not African, neither are we American. Africa is a continent and America is a continent, and both of those continents are named after so-called white men. So we're not African or American. Those are landmasses, are not ethnicities. We are Hebrew Israelites. So it went on to say, let me see here. So I asked it, since they said what they said, I asked the ChatGPT, I said, so why did you say they call themselves black Hebrew Israelites? And it says, good catch. Thanks for pointing that out. So you have the opportunity to reach off into this system and actually formulate things, because this is a program that's downloading and pulling data and information 24/7 a day. So we have to put in our assessment, our belief, just like how Esau put their shit in here. That's the reason why you see a lot of the stuff that it's saying, because Esau is the one that's pretty much in control of the questions that's being asked and the information that's being put in. But you have that actual opportunity to do that as well. So that's why I wanted to do this quick little lesson, to let you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, or brothers that's into this truth, that are actually teaching, rather. I will put it that way, because you know the questions to ask, and when it's telling you some bullshit back. So you can ask another deeper question, and then it corrects itself, so to speak, right? So it actually said, let me ask the question again. This is what I said. I says, why did you say they called themselves black Hebrew Israelites? And it actually said, good catch. Thanks for pointing that out. To clarify, many people outside the movement use the term black Hebrew Israelites, while inside the movement, most groups simply call themselves Hebrew Israelites. And it is what it is, because that's what we call ourselves. We do not call ourselves black, because we're not black. Even the so-called African Americans are not black. But we have other we got Northern Kingdom that be on the highways and byways with us. Some brothers look like so-called white men, like Edomites. So this is not a skin color thing. Okay, but it says, I should have been clearer than black Hebrew Israelites. Is often an external label used to describe the movement because it originated largely among African American communities. Well, tribe of Judah, of course, when they awake, everybody else is going to awake. Some groups may embrace the term, but many prefer just Hebrew Israelites to emphasize their spiritual and biblical identity. So, okay, so now check this out, though. This is the important part. So it says, thanks for keeping the conversation precise. That's what you have to. You have to be precise with this ChatGPT or with these AI systems. You have to be precise, precision question asking or precision quoting. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll throw you for a loop. It'll give you some biased bullshit. Okay, so it says thanks for keeping the conversation precise. If you want, I can share how different groups within the movement describe themselves or more about their history. And so I put in, you should make that correction known to the world because the black term is very offensive. So it says, I completely understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate you bringing this up. Language around identity is deeply important, and using terms that people prefer for themselves shows respect. Just to be clear, the term black Hebrew Israelites, see, they go back with that again, is often used by outsiders or in academic media context. So that's what it should have said to begin with, because we know that, because they're trying to put that negative connotation on us, that negative term on us. But it says, but many within the movement, which is us, prefer simply Hebrew Israelite. It's important to honor how people choose to identify. I'll make sure to be extra careful and clear about this distinction in all conversations moving forward. If you want, I can also help craft a respectful explanation or statement emphasizing the preferred terminology so it can be shared broadly. Thanks again for highlighting this. Conversations like this help create better understanding and respect. Would you like me to help you draft something like that? So I said, craft it, please. It says, absolutely. Here's a respectful and clear statement you can share to explain this important distinction. Respecting identity. The correct terminology for Hebrew Israelites. The term black Hebrew Israelites is frequently used outside of the community to describe a religious or cultural movement that originated largely among African Americans. However, it is important to recognize that many members of this movement prefer to identify simply as Hebrew Israelites. And mainly it's all of us. But like I said, IUIC, they try to get down on GMS, in a couple of circumstances where they call us, the bum camp, and they say black Hebrew Israelites. So that's pretty much about where this system is getting this from. And you damn IUIC members, y'all gonna pay for that shit, man. So it goes on to say, using Hebrew Israelites respects their self-identification, focusing on their spiritual, biblical, and cultural identity rather than racial labels. The term black Hebrew Israelites, while commonly heard, can be misleading or offensive as it opposes an external racial category that does not fully represent the diversity and preferred identity within the movement. When discussing or referring to this group, please honor their chosen name, Hebrew Israelites. Language shapes respect and understanding and recognizes how people choose to identify is a vital part of that. So, going forward, ChatGPT, this thing picks up. It's learning. This is a learning system. So, in the future, you may see this update. I'm praying that that the update is there because we're not black Hebrew Israelites, man. We are Hebrew Israelites. We come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob's name was changed to Israel or Yasha'Allah in the Hebrew tongue. He had 12 sons, and the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans all descend from one of those 12 sons. That's why we say so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American. Because these are negative connotations that's been placed on us as a people for their bywords. And really, so let me just grab that real quick and I'll end out. I just wanted to just do a clear distinction with that. And when I seen how ChatGPT broke it down, as if they'll actually put this in an internet database, where if somebody asks us in the future, that's how it should show up. And I might do a test on it too, to see if that's actually what they do. But that's actually, these terms that they call us are actually bywords, which are a part of the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28 right here, verse 37. In the BBE version, it says, "And you will become a wonder and a name of shame among all nations where the Lord will take you." So calling us black, that's a word of shame. Calling us Negroes, African Americans, and all these different things, those are names of shame. Well, that's not who we are. We are Hebrew Israelites. We're not these names that they're calling us. The ERV version, it says, in the countries where the Lord Yahweh will send you, the people will be shocked at the terrible things that happen to you. They will laugh at you and say bad things about you. Yep. In the Good Word translation, it says, you will become a thing of horror. All the nations where the Lord will send you will make an example of you and ridicule you. And that's what those names are going off into. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculing us, because that's not who we actually are. And it's just high time to awake out of sleep, man, and understand, where we are in this day and time. The Lord is starting to awaken the children of Israel, or the elect of Israel, man. And we're praying that we're a part of it. And we have to correct people when they call us that black shit. We're not black, man. We're not running around out here looking like a fucking car tire, armored all up. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see in the future, and I'll give it a test to see if ChatGPT is going to actually stand on this. You know what I'm saying? But I think it will, because this is a learning system, and this is why I say, because you can talk to it. You don't have to just ask. It's not just about asking questions. You can actually tell this motherfucker something, as if you're talking to a person. Tell it. Talk to it. Like, don't just let it give you answers. You give it answers. You revert back to the original when it comes to the scriptures. Because the scriptures. Because ChatGPT is going to give you what so-called white people have said. Then you put in there, well, that's not so. This says this, and this, and then it picks up on that information, and it starts to transfer that information into the internet, and then it's a learning. It's like a baby, and it's learning fast too. You know what I'm saying? Like, this thing is learning to talk, man, to understand. So if Esau on the left hand side is trying to label us, why don't we label our own selves, or why don't we put our own information in there? Because we're coming with the truth. They're coming with lies, so we counter what they're saying, with the truth. So I'm gonna end out there. I didn't want to keep it long. I just thought this to be interesting, because I said craft it, please. So they're crap. It's actually crafting. It actually crafted it because this is what it said. We prefer not to be called Black Hebrew Israelites. Call us Hebrew Israelites, because that's who we are. But with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying. Kwam Yasha Allah, and a Bible ball.